Today, gentlemen, I humbly come before you asking for aid. I want to make something a thing that's not a thing. I want to coin the term fan disservice. Because I am sick and tired going on Twitter and seeing all the blue check marks and all the people with communist paraphernalia in their bio complaining about fan service. So fan service, according to them, is the lady on the right. The lady on the right is fighting against enemies twice her size in melee combat the entire game. And as you can see, she is wearing makeup. She doesn't have a single scar on her body. She's got long hair, even though it can get in the way. She's not very buffed. There's no reason for her to look like this, except for the fact that the developers understand the target demographic they're making the game for, and they know that the target demographic appreciates if she looks like this, and they're more likely to buy the game. This is why it's called fan service. It's not that the game wouldn't sell if she looked any different. It's simply the fact that it's more likely to sell if she looks like this. Like the developers are trying to please the people that pay them money. This, on the other hand, is what I consider fan disservice. And it's not just because people are mocking that character with the following picture. It's also because I know the lore behind all this. You see, this has been created using motion capture imagery. So a real woman, an actress, which the fans love and they find gorgeous, decided to help the game developers create Aloy. The only problem is, and the fans were bewildered when they figured out that Aloy doesn't really look like the actress. And when questioned in an interview on why that is, the developer, which is a male feminist and constantly talks about how he created the game to empower women, has stated that the actress didn't look heroic to him. She looked like she would cry if she broke a nail. Those are his words, not mine. So they had to change the look of Aloy. They had to, I guess, pump some testosterone into her to, I guess, empower her and make her look more like a role model for women. And you get to see this happening time and time again in Western industry, to the point where I can tell you where a game is made just by looking at the women. If the women look as if the type of people you could meet at the mall, or you could see at your university, or you could see in a nightclub, then chances are the game is made either in Japan, South Korea, or Eastern Europe. If the women look like they fell in a bucket of testosterone, with broad shoulders, strong jawlines, short hair, small chest, then they're either made in California, the United Kingdom, Canada, or France. I can't find any exceptions to this during the last 5 years. None whatsoever. People keep bringing up Cyberpunk with CD Projekt Red, but I would say that given how many people they have hired from Canada, California, they might as well move their headquarters there. So let me give you some examples, right? Like, just so you know, I'm not talking crap. This is Captain Marvel from Marvel Comics. I mean, this is drawn by a professional. You probably wouldn't know that she is Captain Marvel if she wasn't wearing this uniform. They did the same with the Star Wars game with the Jedi. The woman making the motion capture, you know, she looks like an actual woman. The character, you wouldn't even know that it's a woman. It's completely androgynous. You need to turn the volume up to hear her voice. It looks nothing like the lady from the comic books as well. I think all of this started with Dragon Age 3, by the way. This probably is the primordial evil. And speaking of primordial evil, you get to see in Diablo, the new one. Like, that's how the female barbarian looks like. You get to see this with Marvel Comics. Yeah, like, furthermore, this is actual Marvel Comics. This is how they portray women. It's getting to the point that people are memeing them in the streets, right? So this is an elf in Western comics, this is an elf in Japan. Now, you can make the argument, well, you know, it's a different art style, fine, but, like, the meme holds. You know, the meme definitely holds at this point. And there's plenty of other examples. But I want to say that fan disservice doesn't really stop at the way a character looks. So I kept talking about the women because the men are pretty much left alone. My favorite take is that the creator of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, said that he doesn't want the game to still have the same women it had in Mortal Kombat 9. And the reason for this is that, according to him, you wouldn't be fighting to the death in your bikinis. Even though the men in his game still fight to the death in their bikinis. And this is why I wasn't shocked when I saw the trailer for He-Man fighting in bikinis, right? Because it's not against, I guess, the ideology of the West to have men depicted like that. I can't show you the trailer because the trailer is copyrighted, but you can go and you can Google or YouTube He-Man trailer. The trailer is absolutely beautiful. It's like, I was shocked at the fact of how good the trailer was. But then the rumors came out that He-Man is going to be taken out during the first episode. And he's going to be replaced by one of his female sidekicks that's going to carry the show. And I'm thinking, like, isn't that fan disservice? Isn't that like the biggest example of fan disservice? Because imagine if I were to make a Xena reboot and I get rid of Xena in the first episodes and replace her with Yolis. Like, that would be a disservice to the Xena fans, wouldn't it? Imagine if I did this to Buffy. Get rid of Buffy in the first episodes and replace her with some guy. Why would you do that? Here's another example of fan disservice. This game, actually, yeah. So this game literally bans you from choosing certain names for your character, even though it's a single-player game. So if you want to play with a character called Bitch, you're not allowed. Like, the game developers have a list of names, I think like 300 or so names that you're not allowed to have for your characters. Why would you do that? Like, if the fan purchases the game, gives you money, it's like, okay, he's installing the game on his computer, and he wants, like, he's not bothering anyone, it's a single player game, and he wants to name his character something, you're not allowed. And by the way, like, this also annoys me quite a lot. You'll notice that these people freak out on Twitter if you call them colonizers, because they colonize every hobby they go into. You know, they go in, they have a different culture than the hobby they're going into. They're not interested in the hobby, they're interested in doing activism, and they have a lot of disdain for the fans of the hobby, just like a colonizer has disdain for the colonized, you know. And they hate it when you call them that. But what I noticed is that they claim that they're the champions of diversity and inclusivity while excluding other people. And I made a video on my other channel where I talk about the video game from when I was a kid, Neverwinter Nights. Now, this game, I believe it was in 2002. And it's incredibly diverse. It's more diverse than this game. You can play an old lady in that game. You can play a transgender in that game. Yeah, a game from 2002. You can play as a transgender. You can create a female character that has a male voice if you so desire. And you can put a male or a female name or whatever. Games were more diverse before these chuckleheads came out. And they're the ones that are considering that they're championing diversity. And they're the real gamers while pushing all this fan disservice into our face. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing that's happening, and I want to coin this term, you know, fan disservice, because I think it accurately depicts what they're doing. It's like finding out what the fans want and then giving them the exact opposite. It's more powerful than get woke, go broke, I think, because like getting woke isn't necessarily destroying your game, but like pushing hard for fan disservice is probably going to break your game. So yeah, let me know what you think, and if you want to check my other channel out where I talk about these things, then there's a link into the pinned comment if you scroll down. I have another video coming on a similar topic. It's about how these people write the stories. Like, for example, I've played this game recently, and except for the first male character, except for the first one, all the white men characters, all of them, to the point where it was obnoxiously in your face, all of the white male characters are either evil, greedy, stupid, or a combination of the above, or incompetent. So incompetent, evil, greedy, or stupid, or a combination of. Every single one. And again, it's kind of like fan disservice, because like the biggest demographic of people that play this game are men. And you're just spiting them like that. It's just so mean-spirited that it doesn't really make sense on why you would do that. Japanese games don't do that. Eastern European games don't do that. They don't spite their audience. If I play a Japanese game, I don't feel like it's spiting women or men.